Hello everyone! So today I'm doing some trash to treasures. I got all these items from Goodwill. This first one we're going to start out with is this little clock that I got for $3.49. I wanted just some really cute clock, and this is what I found. Don't mind the fact that I don't have a screwdriver and I was too lazy to go find one, so I used a pair of scissors. So I just start by taking this all apart, took the screws out, took the back out. It was actually pretty easy to get it all apart. And then I went through and cleaned it, had some yucky gunk stuff on the top front of it right there. I'm assuming they put some sort of sticker or something on it. That's my guess. And then I do go through and take some sandpaper to it just to kind of rough it up a little bit so the paint will stick. Then I'm taking my home folk art home decor paint in white, and I just paint the entire thing this color. It did take me probably about 3 coats to get it all the way covered up. And at this current moment, my kids are being super loud, so if you hear them in the background. So after I go through and get this entire thing painted, like I said, did the front, did the back, just did about everywhere. I do go through with some sandpaper to get kind of the parts of paint that built up a bit, especially with chalk paint. It dries so fast that it just, I don't know, clumps up. Not clumps up, but you know what I mean. It gets dried fast, lots of pieces together, whatever. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about, not making any sense. So I tried taking this and putting painter's tape around it. I mean, I did do it, but this was a huge struggle for me. As you can see, it did not want to go on the way that I wanted it to. So I just kind of went with it and went around as best as I could. Took some of my mineral chalk paint from Waverly and went around the gold part of the clock. I was originally going to go in with black, but then I decided that I wanted it a little bit more of a gray beigey kind of color, and I like this a lot more than I thought that I was going to with the black. And while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and distress my clock. So I'm just taking my sandpaper and going over basically all the edges that you can see. Anything that sticks out, all the sides, all the edges. I just wanted it to have a distressed look, give it a little bit more dimension. I didn't want it to just be flat and white, so I love the way that the distressing looks on this clock. I think that that's one of my favorite parts of this piece is the distressing. And I just went over the lines on the front. I did some vertical distressing on the bottom, basically just to give it a little bit more dimension, some more texture. After I go through and take the painter's tape off of this, I have to go back through on the sides where you can still see that gold, and then anything that got on the glass, I just scraped off with my finger, basically. So I went ahead and popped the clock back into the little house, I'm gonna call it, its main piece, and I screwed everything back together. And then I did end up finding a battery that I put into it, and it actually worked. I was super surprised because I didn't think that the clock was going to work, and it does. So now I have a usable clock, which is even better than just looking pretty. So after I go ahead and put it all together, I set the time on my clock, and that was about it. Super easy, super fast, super affordable, and this is probably my favorite piece out of the 3 that I'm showing you today. I think it just turned out absolutely gorgeous, something that you'd probably pay, I don't know, a good $30 to $40 for if this was at a store, I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't buy clocks very often, so maybe that's too much, but I love it. And then this next piece is this little house. It is very old looking. It was only $2.49. But yeah, this looks like something that, you know, is probably out of the 90s. I'm guessing super old. I'm dating myself quite a bit. I'm not that old. But I just basically took this all apart and I cut the cord out of it because I wasn't really wanting to have a little light on it. I just liked it for the house. I'm really into houses lately. Any little teeny tiny houses, big houses. I'm planning on making some houses out of wood pieces that I'm really excited for. So I just took everything apart. I took the heart off, and it did end up taking some pieces with it. So you can see it's gonna have a little groove there, but I honestly wasn't too worried about it. I took my sandpaper just to rough it all up a little bit, make the paint stick a little bit better, and to clean it. So yeah, that's what I did. Took a baby wipe and cleaned it all off. After I'm done doing that, I'm taking some wood filler. You can see that big old crack in the top. So I filled in that as much as I could, and then I also went over that spot where the heart was, just to kind of make it so that it wasn't as big of a dip right there, if that makes any sense at all. And then I'm taking some white chalk paint again and painting the entire thing white besides the door. I want to paint the door a different color, and I'm guessing that I probably did about 3 to 4 coats on this just to cover up that green and the brown. It wanted to show through quite a bit. So yeah, that's basically all I did. Really simple, just to paint all over it. So for the door, I am using the Waverly chalk paint in Celery. This has been one of my absolute favorite colors lately. I've been doing a lot of my home decor in this color. I just think it's super pretty. I don't know, I love it a lot. So at first I wanted to make a little window on the door, and I was gonna use this little ruler stir stick thing to make my line straight, and it wasn't working the way that I wanted it to, so I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and freehand it. Well, turns out my freehanding isn't so great. Who knew that could, drawing a square could be as hard as it was for me. It just turned out too thick, and the lines in the middle weren't all, I don't know. I just did not end up liking it. So I do go ahead and paint over that later, and then for these little windows, I did just use this ruler so that I could get my lines actually straight this time, and I thought those turned out pretty good. So after I do that, I go ahead and fill them in with black. This is just a paint pen that I picked up at Walmart, and yeah, I just draw those on there. Looks a lot better than my little window on the door. So yeah, like I said, I just cover that right up. I wasn't too thrilled with it. If I could figure out how to make it look cuter, I totally would. I wish that my freehand was a lot better. Thus the reason why I have a Cricut, and I use that, makes it look a lot nicer. So I just go through and distress the house. Again, just like the clock, I'm just hitting all the high points, all the edges, all the, corners and everything like that, just to make it look a little bit more distressed, have a little bit more dimension to it. I do go over the windows and the door, and I do go around the sides of the door to give that a little bit more, a little something something to it too. And then I'm taking this ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's just the, like a gray gingham print, and then some thicker twine that I believe I got from Walmart, I want to say. So I just go through and tie a double knot on here and cut off the excess, and I do the exact same with the twine. I love the way that this looks stacked on top of each other, so I thought that turned out really cute. And after I get the twine wrapped around there, I just play with it a little bit so that the ribbon does show through more, so the twine's not covering it up completely. I take the little, knot and bring it to the front of the twine so that you can see that ribbon really well. And I love adding that little detail to it. I just thought it, gave it a little something extra, and I thought the door was missing something, so I created a bow out of the same ribbon. And then for my third piece, I got these two candlesticks from Goodwill as well. One was $2.50, the other one was $3.50. The bigger one did end up having this huge crack down the middle, and I didn't notice it until after I purchased it. And there's no like squeezing it back together or trying to fix it. I could probably use some wood filler on it, but that just would have taken a ton of wood filler. And you know what? I'm putting them on my cabinets, and I'm gonna face the crack to the back. Nobody's gonna see it, so it wasn't that big of a deal to me. So I just went through and cleaned it. These were pretty filthy and gross, so I did some sanding to the bottom one. On that one, it's just nasty. And then I'm taking my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I'm just painting over the entire thing. So I just thought that the yellow, it just looked dirty to me. I love the little details all over this, but it just looked gross. In my opinion, I don't know. It was not, I don't know. I don't know the right word for it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. So I just go through and paint both of them, and I wanted a way to make all the little details stand out so they didn't just get hidden by all the white paint. So I am going to take my antique wax from Waverly, and I'm basically just dry brushing this everywhere. I'm hitting all the edges on the sides and everything like that, just to give it, not make it look flat. I'm going over the little details to help those stand out. And I just do this over both candlesticks. Anywhere that I want it to stand out a little bit, that's where I do it. I do it in between those little lines. Basically just kind of everywhere. I just love the way that it makes all the little details stand out. Makes it so the candlesticks don't just look, flat and white. Yeah, I actually really like the way that these turned out. Like I said, I do it to both of them. I don't show me doing it to the second one because it's basically the exact same thing. So these are how they turned out, and I just really like them. I think it's unique, and they're both kind of different in their own ways, and yeah, that's about it. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Let me know which was your favorite project down in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye.